You know, inventing new and unknown chord patterns on the neck can be a lot of fun. Most of the time when you do this, the chords will come off as sounding really weird, you know, kind of unstable. But if you spend time learning strange chord shapes that might sound really off the wall, evil, creepy, it can actually be kind of useful in a number of other musical ways. You can use them for background music, movie soundtrack music. There are things you can do with them to enhance the way that the chords are being applied in different sounds and so forth. And even if you have no idea what the name of the shape is that you're going to create, you can just use the overall experience as learning new unique chord patterns for an exercise, you know, as a study of chord tones and intervals, or you could use it as a technical exercise to increase the ability of your fretboard hands. Lots of ways to look at this. So in this episode of the Guitar Blog Insider, I'm going to demonstrate just a simple thing, one simple thing you can do, an easy method you can start doing right away to create your own strange, weird, evil, messed up chords on the guitar. All right, let's get started with this idea because it is just a total creative, fun idea. You just, for developing hand dexterity, a little bit of work on being able to understand some music theory principles, if you're going to do some analysis, looking at intervals, that kind of thing. You know, and a lot of the chords that you develop this way, they're going to just sound really weird and strange, and you want to invent ways of using them. You know, that's kind of the main reason also for getting, you know, creative like this. But let's get into it. Let's make up some shapes here, come up with some fingering designs, and then, you know, we'll just see what we can dream up and go from there. So I'm just going to start by just putting my fingers down in some places. I'll put my fingers here, and maybe up on that second string. There we go. Okay, there's our first shape that we're going to work with. You can do anything you want. I just dreamed this up quickly here. So if you have a decent level of theory for keys and intervals, it's probably a good idea to start trying to name what you're creating on the neck. You know, let's see what my shape is here. I always try to do my analysis when I'm building chords from the lowest possible tone, see if I can create something off the root and name it that way. So I've got B flat here. Then I go off of that and I've got a D. So that's a major third. And then up here, I had my finger on an A tone. So in relationship to that B flat, A is like a major 7. So really, all I have here is a major 7 chord. I really didn't even build anything weird. But okay, so anyway, that's my first shape. It's something to start with. Let's make it weirder. Let's do something to it. You know, let's just try flipping some fingers around. Let's go, I'll put my first finger over a string on the second string, and then I'll shift my small finger. Oh, that sounds better. That's creepier and weirder and evil, more evil sounding right there. I just put my small finger over on 10th fret, 3rd string. You can even like alternate between those two, make up a little riff or something. You know? I don't know. It's starting to sound pretty whacked out. But let's analyze that one that I was just doing there. Okay, so what do we got here? What's going on? So I've got this B flat. I've got a perfect 5th interval, if you know power chords. So I've got that little power chord shape there. And then over from there, oh man, I've got no third in this, really, from the root, if I'm choosing to do B flat as the root. Instead, I've got like an altered tone up there. So, you know what? When you run into situations like this and you have no concept really of what it is that's going on here, nothing makes sense, start trying to pick other notes of the layout to be the root and just, you know, go from that direction. So the first thing I would try to do, first, actually, before anything, I would probably, like, you know, because I'm on a B flat, and I'm on this F, and I'm up here on like a G flat. I'd probably slide it somewhere that would be easier to do analysis. So I'm just going to go down a fret here maybe and take it off this A. I've got an E, and I've got an F. And the first thing I want to do is try and line up the notes so that I can get them into third intervals so that they become a chord. All chords are based out of having, you know, third intervals stacked, all the basic diatonic chords. So if you start from A, you're going to have A, C, E. If you start from F, it's going to be F, A, C. You know, so it's just, you know, basically going to be a stacked idea of thirds. If you start on a G, it's G, B, D. If you start on D, it's D, F, A. You get the idea. Okay, so off of here now, where I've got an A and I've got an E and I've got an F, I can tell already I can start doing some stacking off the F. F goes instantly to a major third to the A. And then the E is a major 7 to the F. So I've got another major 7 chord, really. creepier sounding because the notes are all aligned odd. You know, you got, if you take it from the root, you know, being in the bass, or try to view it as a root in the bass idea, it's kind of altered sounding, really, you know. Anyway, if you don't know anything about music theory and everything I just spoke about in the last few minutes is just mush, then don't worry about it. You know, who cares? Over time, you'll get better at music theory and you'll understand this one day. And let's move on. Let's try to do something else. So I've got, you know, one chord that I started with that wasn't too creepy and weird. And then I went to one by just moving a couple fingers around. That got pretty weird. But let's go off of the lowest tone now and change it, because we sort of did two versions of a shape that had the same root down there. So let's just move it up a whole step maybe. Let's put it right there. And we'll go back about 4 notes on the next string over, because I know that's going to give us kind of a funny sound because that's a major second. You know, so it's this note, but it's just over on the next string. I know what we can do next. I got the perfect thing next. Let's try and add some open strings in there. You could go from the bass, or you could, which doesn't sound so great. Maybe let's go above that. Oh, I like that. That's cool sounding. So what are we doing here? What's going on with this? I've got a C down in the bass, going to a D. So right away when I see something happening off of a major second interval like that, I'm thinking suspended tones right away. And then what's that next one over the B? Oh, the B open string. So that is a major 7. Boy, we're doing a lot of major 7s here with these for some reason. But it sounds pretty cool. Odd. Yeah, so anyway, it's just really, you know, what is it? Like a C major 7 sus2, I guess you could call it. Get into some pretty strange territory when you try to name some of these chords that just have a few tones to them. But you know what's great about some of these ones with open strings too is you can slide them around and, you know, take it someplace else on the neck. Oh, that's pretty whacked out sounding. Oh, that sounds weird. It's endless. You know, you could just keep going for miles and miles and miles. You know, this is a really cool concept of adding open strings, though. It's a great sounding approach for just creating some really interesting components to the mix that can react well against fretted tones. So too many times players forget about the open string sound, you know, against the fretted notes. So remember the open strings. And you can see this. I'm just going to wrap it up because this is just odd creative work that doesn't really go anywhere. So, but it is good to do, and it's good to experiment with just plunking your fingers down on the neck and coming up with some really weird, whacked out stuff. And then try to analyze it a little bit. And if you don't understand your music theory, it's a chance for you to kind of get angry at yourself and get better at music theory. There's really not a lot to doing this theoretically. You've got to know your key signatures, you have to have a basic understanding of intervals, and you have to know some principles around chord construction, and that's it. Those 3 things. You learn those 3 things and you can name any thing you do on the guitar or fingerboard, no matter how weird and whacked out it is, you know. So anyway, that's the exercise. So that's all there really is to doing this. And if you have a little bit of understanding for basic music theory and the ability to understand how the intervals are building everything on the neck, you can do your own chord tone analysis. You're going to be able to take this stuff a lot further. Also, remember your connection to rhythm too, because, you know, groove plays a huge part in developing chords. And if you need some help with this, go back and listen to something like Steve Vai's first album there, Flexible. It's really interesting. There's a lot of crazy rhythmic components on that album. Go steal some of those and put them in your own tunes. And when you dream up, you know, a collection of your own crazy, weird, strange, evil chords that you come up with this really whacked out method that I've shown you here, be sure to get started right away on making them both rhythmic and musical as quickly as you possibly can. Well, anyway, that's about all the time that I have for now. As always, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on all this in the comments section below. If you need help with your music theory, if you're not understanding certain things, go check out my website, creativeguitarstudio.com. I've got lifetime free membership to the members area. If you want to step it up and go and check out some of the paid memberships, I've got a full introductory program, intermediate program, there's an advanced program, and there's tons of electives. Believe me, there's lots of stuff for you to check out on the site. But otherwise, I will catch up with you next week on my other channel for another episode of the Guitar Blog Insider. If you're interested in learning faster, making better use of your time, and practicing longer, the Accelerating Your Learning Curve ebook is for you. There's over 60 pages of information on how to take control of both the way you learn and the time that you devote to your practicing. Accelerating Your Learning Curve is available for instant download in the View Our Products area at creativeguitarstudio.com. I've got 25 years experience teaching guitar and have written a well-organized step-by-step guitar course. Head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for a free membership today. Join the thousands of members worldwide who have already enrolled. There's no need to try learning the guitar on your own. Let me help you become the best guitar player that you can be.